Yeah, know what's crazier than 5 or 6 new heroes? 7 new artifacts. So the game plan is right here. We'll be going over the 5 exclusive, the 2 universal artifacts, and then we'll spend the resources we have right here, which is 5,000 exclusive materials and 2,600 red materials to hopefully get a copy, because they haven't been sent on test server. So the copies we get, the copies we test. Here we go.
Our research begins.
Alright, so heroes are great and all, but this is exciting, because here we could actually see buffs. Actual buffs to characters that might really make them viable. Or in general, open new playstyles based on how the universals go. So here we go. Number 1. Tome of Holy Light. Constant exclusive artifact. 5% attack increase, and during the ultimate heals all allies in range excluding the hero for 8% base healing every second. So the 5% attack part is not that huge. But for all of us that have played with constants already, we know there's nothing more annoying than triggering your constants at the wrong moment, than that she provides her attack buff, but your heroes then die because she stops healing. This is great. This is really, really good. This might even change some things for Guild Boss. AMR 100%. This is good. This is really good. So yeah, Tome of Holy Light W. Nothing too special, but very useful. Tome of Greed. Okay. Increases attack by 10%, so half a tier Twilight. When deployed, immediately gains 3 stacks of Soul Reaping. Each kill has a 50% chance of granting 2 stacks of Soul Reaping. Just for those that aren't in the know, or just to refresh up our knowledge right here. If we go to skills, Soul Reaping drains the victim's soul after every kill to increase the attack by 15% for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So, or with the A5 stacking up to 5 times, you can technically have a 75% attack boost on Greed if you stack that properly, but you never really get all that many enemies or in the right frequency, which is why it kinds of dumpling around at 45%. So this is definitely huge. Let's go back to the artifact again. Here we go, exclusive forge. So now you have 3 stacks immediately, which means as soon as you deploy, you gain a 45% attack increase for 20 seconds, which is strong. And then you have a 50% chance of granting 2 stacks of Soul Reaping instead of 1. Very useful, but Greed already was strong and this only makes him stronger. When it comes to damage Greed, this is easily going to be better than a tier of Twilight. No discussion. Shield of Valor. Livian. Increases max HP by 10%. During the Elven Blessing, deals 100% AoE damage to up to 5 targets and restores 10% HP every 10 seconds. Okay, max HP increase, always nice. 100% damage based on her own attack won't be as useful because her attack is always rather low and she's not an HP based unit. And then restores 10% HP every 10 seconds. Not bad, because Elven Blessing, again, let's go back, for those that aren't in the know and haven't actually used her besides maybe faction triads. Come on, where are you? Livian skills. Elven Blessing is actually your ultimate, and that ultimate turns permanent. As you can see, the ultimate is permanent, so she permanently will regenerate 10% HP every 10 seconds. And obviously with the artifact being increased, it will only get better. So straight up buff, extra healing, more survivability, might actually push her closer towards the ranks of Oleg and Baron when it comes to epics as tanks, which is really good. Really, really nice. Storm Strike Haladi or Haladi increases damage to airborne units by 15%. Hamstring also inflicts 10% vulnerability physical damage on enemies. So Theowen now casually deals 15% more damage to air and also physical damage vulnerability. That is strong. There's a straight up damage buff. Now the question is, where is he viable? Probably Arena. Like, honestly, this is going to make him even better Arena because the vulnerability also helps the other marksman do more damage. And furthermore, probably in any other content where you want to use a marksman, especially combined with a slow at A5, this can turn really, really strong. Flaming Pauldrons! Wrath exclusive artifact. Increases damage dealt to elites and bosses by 15%, reduces the effect duration of the ultimate by 10 seconds, and increases damage dealt during ultimate by an extra 30%. If the AoE attack of Heavy Blow hits only one target, this attack ignores 20% of the enemy's defense. We want this. We need to test this. This is Guild Boss Wrath artifact right here. Guild Boss Wrath. 50% more damage against bosses, shorter ultimate but higher damage. And for those that are curious, no, having a shorter ultimate isn't even all that bad, because Wrath is, as you all know, really, really good at cycling his ultimate. Yeah, he's really, really good at cycling his ultimate, only at 300 low rage cost. It goes for 20 seconds. And you know what? Lust. If you have this artifact, and the Lust is going to benefit because if Wrath's ultimate duration is shorter, he's going to use it more often. And if he uses this more often, you trigger Lust's talent more often. Okay, holy shit, we want it. We need it. We need it. Which leaves us with the last two. Right here. 2 universal fighter artifacts. Okay. Number 1. Kier the Forsaken. Increases max HP by 5% every 10 seconds on the field, stacking up to 3 times. Upon reaching max stacks, increases damage by 8%. Okay, so the Kier of the Forsaken is a bruiser type artifact. The first one that obviously comes to mind is going to be Magnus. Magnus with this artifact gains an additional 15% HP. Abomination, another 15% HP. And upon reaching max stacks, you get a damage increase. The damage increase isn't as big as other artifacts, which kind of dequalifies it as like a solo damage artifact. But just bruiser type content, which hopefully we'll get in the future, is really going to benefit from the Kier the Forsaken. Talisman of Resolve. When shielded, increases damage by 20%, and this effect lasts for 6 seconds after the shield vanishes. Falschia. Okay, so straight up instant 20% damage increase, and also as soon as the shield disappears you still get it for 6 seconds. So as long as you get shielded every 6 seconds you have a permanent 20% damage increase, which at least at level 1, if we check other artifacts, competes easily with the Scarlet Hunt, which deals extra damage against bleed, and it's not as conditional. Okay, so that is pretty much a Northern Fighter artifact. Maybe even for Rock. Now it's time to do some summons. The exclusive ones, obviously we will try to cut through it a bit to not make it as long, but the hunt begins. Let's see if we can pull anything useful. Bruh. Be right back. May the forging begin. So, forge number 1. Whispering Grace exclusive artifact, not what we're looking for, but it's an exclusive artifact. Below the 20% rate, let's see if we get on the next one too. Nope, but Zillitus exclusive artifact, still only 1 per 10. That is 2, and we got the Tomo Holy Light. Okay, okay, that's 1 out of 4, 1 out of 4. Ah, Wailing Tusk. Ah, we're looking for Ravs exclusive. We need Ravs. Let's go! We can test Ravs exclusive Flaming Pauldrons, and we got the Grass of Sand on the side. Okay, okay, okay. Eagle's Heartbeat and Tiebreaker. Okay. Suitor of Caprice Hex exclusive artifact, and obviously Hutz's exclusive artifact. We're getting absolute bangers. Magnus exclusive artifact, Volcanic Heart. But obviously we're also spending a lot of resources. You can't say no to that. So, another round of cleansing. Here we go. Just have around 40 fusions or crafts remaining. Eagle's Heartbeat, Talisman of Resolve, there we go, nice. So we also got that one in the bag. Another Talisman of Resolve, the Molten Cock. Nothing. Come on, another exclusive. Talisman of Resolve, Tome of Foliate, and Blazing Pauldrons, which means we can take one of those to 25 just because and see how big it is. I really wanted the second copy of the Wrath artifact, I'm not gonna lie to you. I really wanted to. Let's just see if we can get in the next few fusions potentially the mythic artifact. Now, okay, doesn't look like it. So, in this video, we're just going to have a look at Wrath's exclusive artifact, and the rest will come at a later date. Alright, it's Wrath big boy time. Here we have the Flaming Pauldrons at level 10, increases damage to elites and bosses by 15%, reduces ultimate duration by 10, increases damage during ultimate by 30, and if the attack of the hero AoE attack of heavy blow hits only one target, ignores 20% enemy's defense. Next off, 25. Increases damage dealt to elites and bosses by 25, reduces the effect duration by 10, increases damage by 30, and reduces, and again, 20% attack ignore. So the only change is a 10% multiplier to increase damage against bosses and elites. So it doesn't seem as big, which I guess is kind of a good thing, because it makes the base version even more valuable. Alright, now how do we do this? Very simply. There's only one place where Wrath needs to go, and that is Guild Boss. Alright, yeah, here we go, the tests. The first thing is the same team, so Wrath, Arrogance, Lust, Volker, Hollow, Lunaria, Silas, Hex, Dolores, Laurel, all of the legendaries at A0, Wrath obviously being at A5 max skilled, I mean that's a given. And the first one is going to be Realm Tier. Wrath with the strongest Sorbonne Arcana set we have at the moment that we can give him. Then we have Sorbonne Arcana set on Arrogance, IR set on Lust, Invigoration set on Volker, Invigoration set on... Do we have an Invigoration set on her? Invigoration set on Hollow, Invigoration set on Lunaria, Soulbound Arcana set on Hex, Invigoration on Silas, Infernal Raw on Silas, apparently Infernal Raw on Dolores, and then we got the casual next Invigoration. So right here, I'll go in with the exact same team, and that is going to give us a score to beat. So Wrath's artifact has to obviously compete with the 25 Realm Tier, because that is pretty standard when it comes to fighter artifacts, and how much use is it if it can't even be the 25 mythic artifact. So, see you at the damage numbers, or better said the second run that Wrath actually needs to. Alright, so here we are at the end of the test run with Wrath's Realm Tier, and even poetically speaking, could Wrath take us above 50k with this exclusive? That's what we're going to see. So, right here we have Silas in the lead with 100, 95 on Hex, 94 on Lust, 64 on Arrogance, and 50 on Wrath. Can we do better? That is what we need to find out. And how much can the Wrath do better? Quick intermission before we get to the results. Don't think it's surprising that Arrogance's damage is going to shoot in the air. The answer is I had an HP main set equipped instead of attack, so we were sitting at 8k attack. Yeah. Alright. But just for those curious, if you want to slow the video down or pause it, here's the gear real quick. Obviously we gotta swap out the Realm Tier for those beautiful Flaming Pauldrons. Arrogance gear. A Lust. Volker, I mean, we already talked about it. Hollow. Lunaria. Silas. Obviously, artifact 25 Spirit Siphon. Same goes for Hex. And we got Dolores. And lastly, Laurel. Now I am very, very curious what we can expect here. Because I don't know what we can expect. Which is why I'm curious. So, depending on the results, no matter the results, if you don't have these specific heroes, and Wrath is one of your main damage dealers in Guild Boss, I would highly recommend putting him next to Laurel. Because that would obviously, again, boost his damage and make his numbers look bigger. But we're trying to emulate a scenario that is a bit more realistic, and you wouldn't really place your Wrath next to your Laurel if you had different units. So that's why Wrath is in the back here. And Arrogance has two disadvantages. Number one, he runs around here, but he's in the front row. And number two, he doesn't have an invigoration buff. So that's why his numbers will look a bit off in comparison to the other ones. So right here, we just go with the early Sealer's ult. We'll also just activate Lust. And as soon as every ult is activated, we'll pull Laurel. So right here, as you can see, we have a 20-second duration on the ultimate instead of the 30 seconds. And it's quite obvious that Wrath's ultimate goes pretty darn fast. So here we again obviously just bring Hollow, activate everything as soon as it comes up. Wrath is already in his probably second or third ultimate. Here we're not going to bring in Volker because we can't use Volker's ultimate within 20 seconds, which is why there's no point to bringing her in. Because if you do, then you gotta pull her without her activating her ultimate. Here it's a Insta Laurel and Volker in. Sealers as soon as ready, Lust as soon as ready. And then it's boss pounding time. Hex obviously again, as soon as he comes up, it's that simple. Let me actually move myself over here. So, as soon as Volker comes up, you're going to trigger her ultimate, and then you can already pull her out again. The reason for that is obviously that her cooldown is going to be back faster, or she is going to be ready faster, and her buff stays. You can see that the vulnerability stays on the field as soon as she applies it once. So right here we'll go with the Insta Laurel instead of waiting. Which puts us at 18,800 on the second shield. Which means we just normally go with Hex, Hollow, continue on. And again here there's this 20-second window where we can just wait with Volker. Though here we'll actually activate Lust and Sealers. And we're not going to wait for Dolores. So there is some Dolores RNG because I'm pretty certain last round Dolores was ready at that time. But honestly, it is what it is. It's not really going to be all that crucial. Obviously, it's going to show in Wrath's numbers being a bit lower. But she might also trigger more towards the end, which then again shifts it in Wrath's favor. Or in the Wrath of this round, right? But we're already seeing a damage increase, though again, this might very well come down to Arrogance now having proper gear, and I think we missed the Volker timing down there. But I guess we're going to be fine, because at the end of the day, my main point of interest is still going to be Wrath and how exactly this artifact influences his damage. Because 50 million isn't all that much, right? 50 million really isn't all that much. Furthermore, there might even be a case you could make about Wrath having too much crit and not enough attack, because he does apply burns, and those burns are obviously based on his damage. But he also does have that increased damage through defense penetration, so that means we could go lower in his attack. Now the big question is, will we go above 50? I think the answer is probably yes, though I guess the better question is, how much damage will Wrath have done? So we are not going to go over 50. But there might be a couple factors. The important part is how much damage was Wrath able to deal with his exclusive artifact. Less. 2 million less. Now that's not that great. That really isn't all that great. Now, the question in my mind is obviously, am I building him wrong? Right? Because we do have a bit of attack, but at the end of the day, it's still only 200%. So, do we need to swap out one crit damage piece for attack percent, which we could rather easily do, considering the fact that Wrath gets 15% extra crit. So here we have 25%. Sure, let's do that. Test it again. See if it's really all about the attack. As you can see, we technically lost 10% crit, but we don't really care. We increased our attack massively, maybe a bit too much, but I showed the result at the end. Alright, so here we are at the next results of full attack Wrath. We were able to slightly go over 50k, 50.5, 50.7, something the like. And yeah, Wrath increased his damage to 51.8, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure it's RNG. So I would say, I think we can rather safely say that the 10 artifact is equal to a 25 Ram tier. And keep in mind, the only reason why Ram tier is so strong in this case is because of the guild boss. Because Ram tier actually has a 36% damage increase, which is higher than anything else comparable, because of the range of the guild boss. Because of the fact that the guild boss counts, that Ram tier counts all the way to the back of the guild boss. That's the only reason why. So, just for shits and giggles, how are we feeling about the 25? Let's have a look. And for the 25, we just go back to the full attack or full crit damage. Let's see what Wrath can make out of it. Alright, kind of as expected, the damage increase of the 25 isn't all that big. So what happened here? Number one, Dolores died for the last 20 seconds, so we can add an extra around 6 million. And number two, Wrath increases damage by around 10%, going from 10 to 25. So as I already kind of predicted, the damage isn't increase of his upgrading his exclusive artifact isn't going to be all that big. But what does that also tell us? That Wrath's exclusive artifact is very, very strong. So how would I judge it? Honestly, Flaming Pauldrons on Guild Boss tied for best artifact for Wrath, especially if you're lacking fighter artifacts, easy at 10. And outside of Guild Boss, the best in slot artifact for Wrath pretty much anywhere. Because also the crucial part is it says damage to elites and bosses. Elites being, in this case, then obviously the stronger monsters that you really need to worry about. I guess the next question would be, is Wrath now going to be viable in Arena? And with that one, I leave you to your own thoughts.